Welcome back everyone. Hi, if you're new, I'm Tori, and today we are going to get into 30 of my highly anticipated releases coming out in 2025. I think what is so exciting about next year is that we have so many big name authors releasing books in the new year. We're getting books from Fonda Lee, V.E. Schwab, R.F. Kuang, Nnedi Okorafor, Joe Abercrombie, Christopher Rocchio, maybe Pierce Brown, James Islington. This is shaping up to be one of the biggest release years that I have personally experienced in my time on BookTube. So I am very excited for next year. I think it is going to just blow 2024 out of the water in terms of new releases. If any of these releases catch your eye, I do encourage you just to follow the release date for yourself, because things could potentially change. You know, books could get pushed back or anything could happen. So definitely check the release dates for yourself. And then I am going to have a section at the end of the video where it's just going to be TBD. So books that are slated to come out next year but still don't have, you know, a definitive release date. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what you are most excited for in the new year. I'm sure we have a lot of overlap in our lists, but I want to hear what you're excited about. And yeah, let's get into the video. I am going to go through some of these pretty quickly. Some of them I'm just going to mention them and then, you know, go on to the next, but then others I'm going to have more of a like backstory or more detailed description for you guys. But just to kick things off in January, on January 14th, we have Death of the Author coming out from Nnedi Okorafor. This is such a great way to kick off the year. I love Nnedi Okorafor. She is one of my favorite authors, and I actually already have an early copy of this, so a big thank you to the publisher for that. At this point, I will read anything Nnedi Okorafor writes, so this is top of the TBR as we head into 2025. I cannot wait to crack this one open. And then at the end of the month, we're getting the conclusion to the Five Penalties trilogy by Marina Lostetter, and that is The Teeth of Dawn. I'm almost finished with book 2, The Cage of Dark Hours, and you guys, this has been such an incredible fantasy series, just a great reading journey, and I'm so excited to see how Marina Lostetter is going to wrap everything up in the new year. If you're into like dark fantasy, kind of gritty fantasy that blends crime and mystery elements, I think this series could really work for you. Definitely give it a try. The Helm of Midnight is just still one of my favorite book ones in a series. It just blew me away when I read it, and I still think about that book pretty often. So definitely give it a try if this sounds interesting to you. And yeah, this series is finally coming to an end in just a month here. Moving into February, on the 4th, we have another one that I just cannot wait to start reading. I have an early copy for this one as well, and that is Grave Empire by Richard Swan. And this is the first book in a brand new series. It is a continuation though from the Empire of the Wolf trilogy, but it's a pretty big time jump. I'm not sure the exact amount of time that has passed, but it's a big time skip. We have a new character. We're in a different part of the world. It's going to be really interesting to go back to this world and see the impact that the events of the final book have on this, you know, on this new world for these new characters. So I'm really excited to read this. I love this series. Empire of the Wolf is one of my now all-time favorites. So yeah, definitely going to be picking up Grave Empire really soon here on the channel. And then on the 27th, we have Shroud coming out by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I am slowly becoming a big fan of Adrian Tchaikovsky. I read Children of Time a couple of years ago, and I really enjoyed that. And then more recently though, I just read his novella Elder Race, and that was such a pleasant surprise. Really had a great time with that one as well. So I have more Tchaikovsky on my shelf, actually more of his fantasy than his sci-fi on my shelf. But yeah, I am a really big fan of his sci-fi now, so definitely will be getting my hands on Shroud when it comes out in February. And then going into March, on the 4th, Oathbound by Tracy Deonn is coming out. This is book 3 in the Legendborn cycle, and the only YA book that is on this list. I have been having a good time with the Legendborn series. I did not enjoy the second book as much as the first one. I really loved book 1. Book 2, I think, just had a bit of middle book syndrome going on, but I'm still intrigued to see where Tracy Deonn is going to take this story. So I definitely will be picking up the 3rd book when it comes out in the new year. I think it is just such a great spin on Arthurian legends, Knights of the Round Table, all of that. So I love how Tracy Deonn is able to weave in our main character's ancestral history into all of that. It's just really fascinating. So really enjoyed this world, these characters, and hopefully book 3 grabs me a little bit more than the second one does. But nonetheless, I'm excited for this one, and yeah, we'll be reading it in the new year. And then also on the 4th, we've got The Radiant King coming out by David Dalglish. This is the first book in a new series from him. I'm looking forward to giving David Dalglish a new chance in the new year, because his other series that starts with the Blade of Faith, it's just not for me. But this one sounds like it's going to be a little bit more up my alley. We have siblings. It sounds like 6 of them. and 5 of them have already accepted. It sounds like that they're not going to be on the throne, and one of them is, I guess, supposed to be on the throne. So it sounds like we've got some complicated family drama already starting to brew in this series. But again, this sounds a little bit more my speed than The Blade of Faith. I felt The Blade of Faith was just kind of playing things a little bit too safe. It really hit on a lot of traditional fantasy tropes while not doing too much to make itself stand out. So yeah, it was okay. Found it kind of dry, but I am looking forward to giving this new series a chance in the new year. And then on March 11th, we have The Sea Eternal coming out by Emery Robin. I am really excited for this one. I read The Stars Undying last year, and I had an amazing time with that book. This is a sci-fi book that is sort of a retelling of the lives of Cleopatra, Julius Caesar, and Mark Antony. It was so good. The reviews on this book are so terrible. The review score is very low, but this just so happened to work for me. I really enjoyed our main character, and yeah, we finally have the second book coming out in the new year, so I will be picking this one up. I don't think The Stars Undying will work for everybody, but if it sounds interesting, I do encourage you to give it a chance because it just might hit for you. And then moving into April, on the 8th, we have Cold Eternity coming out from S.A. Barnes. This is her new sci-fi horror novel, and even though, you guys, I did not like Ghost Station this year, I'm gonna stick with S.A. Barnes. I'm excited to read Cold Eternity, see what she's gonna do next, because I keep saying this, Dead Silence was actually a really good read for me. I had such a fun time with that book, and even though Ghost Station was a bit of a letdown for me, I think Cold Eternity could turn things around a little bit. So who knows? I'm cautiously optimistic. Then we have 3 releases in May that I'm really excited for. 2 are actually releasing on the same day. The first one is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I've actually already had a chance to read this one early, so thank you so much to Tor for an early copy of that. I enjoyed The Devils. I didn't love it. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't love it, but I had a fun time with it. I mentioned this when I talked about it in my recent reads video. If you're an Abercrombie fan, I can't imagine that you're not gonna enjoy this. For me though, it was just a little bit too much on the humorous side of things. But overall, I did enjoy the story. I liked the majority of our characters, and it was a fun time. I do think though, and I said this in my recent reads video as well, I do think some of you are not prepared for how humorous and comical this is, but either way, The Devils comes out on May 6th. And then also on the 6th, we have Overgrowth coming out from Mira Grant, also known as Shauna McGuire. I'm really excited for this one. I have not read a book under her Mira Grant name since Feed, which was a zombie apocalyptic novel. I had such a fun time with that one. It was so unique. We're following characters who are journalists during the apocalypse, and they're trying to cover this like presidential campaign. So Overgrowth is a new sci-fi horror from her, and it is said to blend themes of Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer and The Day of the Triffids. And I love Annihilation, have not read Day of the Triffids, but anything being compared to Annihilation is an immediate add to TBR, so I will be picking this one up. And then lastly, in May, we have Harmattan Season coming out from Tochi Onyebuchi. This one sounds really good. This is actually a novella, and it's said to be good for fans of P. Djeli Clark. So already you've got me, count me in. I will be picking this one up when it comes out as well. And then moving into June, we've got some big ones coming out. On the 3rd, we have a debut novel that I'm really excited for, and that is A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Ayindi. This is the first book in a new series, and it's said to be a tale of revenge and rebellion inspired by pre-colonial cultures. And we have a main character who's from the slums and ends up inadvertently summoning a spirit from the ancestral realms. This sounds great. This one has actually been on my radar for a while, and I'm really excited for it to release. And then we got 2 books coming out on the 10th. The first one is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. Really excited for this one, you guys. I think this is going to be a standalone, and I'm just already impressed by what V.E. Schwab can do in a standalone because of a book like, you know, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And this one we have vampires. I think it'll be really fun to see how V.E. Schwab handles something like vampires. And then finally on the 10th, we have Witch Roads coming out from Kate Elliott. This one sounds good. It's going to be the first book in a new series, and it says status is hereditary, class is bestowed, and trust must be earned. And then going into July, we have 2 books coming out on the same day, and both of them are conclusions to their series. The first one is The Memory of the Ogissi by Moses Osei Tomi. I really enjoyed the first book in the series, which starts with The Lies of the Ajungo. This is a novella series, and I just think the way that he blends, you know, myth and folklore and legends and just really strong characters, in the course of like, I think 100 pages or so, the first one was. It just really blew me away. So I need to read the second one. Looking forward to the conclusion. And yeah, keep this on your radar for 2025. And then also we get another conclusion. We have The Justed Crown coming out by Sarah Hesham. I put this one on the list because I do plan to read The Justed Heir in January, and I have a strong feeling that I am going to really enjoy this one. So I do anticipate, hopefully, fingers crossed, going into the sequel when it comes out in July. And then in August, you guys, we got a big one coming out. We have Calabasas by R.F. Kuang. This is another day one purchase for me. I am so excited for this one. We have two academic rivals who have to travel to hell in order to save their advisor. It just sounds like it's going to be adventurous. It might be a little bit of humor mixed into there, but who knows. But R.F. Kuang, she is such a strong writer, world builder, storyteller. I have high expectations for this one. I'm very excited for it. And then in September on the 11th, we have Among the Burning Flowers coming out by Samantha Shannon. And this is another novel in the Roots of Chaos series that started with The Priory of the Orange Tree. You guys, I love The Priory of the Orange Tree. I really do. Honestly, at this point, I would put it in my all-time favorite fantasies. I love that story. I love Samantha Shannon's writing, storytelling, world building in that book. I still need to read A Day of Fallen Night, but that is going to happen in 2025. And I will be picking up this new book in the series when it comes out in September. I can't wait. I know I'm going to love it. I already do. I know I'm going to love A Day of Fallen Night. I just feel it. And then in October, we've got two exciting releases. The first one is The Last Contract of Asako. This comes out on the 9th from none other than Fonda Lee. And this is actually a space opera. So really excited to read Fonda Lee's sci-fi. And it's said to be a commentary on late stage capitalism. Fonda Lee, she is an auto-buy author for me at this point. She can have my money when this book comes out. So I'm really excited for this one. And then on the 23rd of October, we have The Blackfire Blade coming out from James Logan. And this is the sequel to The Silver Blood Promise, which I read earlier this year when it came out, and I enjoyed this. It was really fun. It was adventurous. I don't love it, but I am curious to see though where our characters are going to end up in the sequel. And yeah, I mean, just overall I had a good time with it. So this is a series that I'm definitely going to be continuing when the sequel comes out. Then moving into November, we have two big authors dropping books in this month. The first one is Jay Kristoff, and we are getting the conclusion to the Empire of the Vampire trilogy. Still no title or release date for this, but Kristoff did announce that it's coming out in November, and I will be picking this up. And then we have another big one in November, and that is All That We See or Seem by none other than Ken Liu. He described it as a techno thriller series, and I'm just like, I don't care what it is. Take the money. And so far, nothing in December has caught my attention, but I'll keep you guys updated if that changes. And finally, you guys, let's get into kind of the TBD section of all of this. These are books that are slated for 2025, but still no actual release date, window, month, none of that. So I'm gonna go through these pretty quickly. The first one, Shadows Upon Time by Christopher Rocchio. This is the 7th and final book in the Sun Eater series. We're gonna be picking the series back up in January with Kingdoms of Death, and I'm so excited to see where things go next. I'm just ready to catch up with where the series is right now with Disquiet God. So gonna be happening early January. I cannot wait. And then also, my fingers are crossed for this one. I think we could be getting Red God by Pierce Brown, which is the 7th and final book in the Red Rising series, another series that has become one of my all-time favorite sci-fi series. These are some of my all-time favorite characters, just some of the most memorable moments in a series that I've ever read. So I think it's just gonna be so bittersweet when this series finally comes to its end, but I can't wait for that day. And then we've got Strength of the Few by James Islington, you guys, coming out in 2025. Right now, it says that this book is supposed to come out in May, specifically May 6th. I don't know. I don't believe that, which is why I didn't put it in the May section. That just seems a little bit too early for me, but who knows? But yeah, right now it does say May, but again, anything could happen. But whenever it comes out, I will be there day one because The Will of the Many has just been one of the best books that I have read in 2024. Then we've got This Brutal Moon coming out from Bethany Jacobs. This is going to be the 3rd and final book in the Kingdom trilogy. Just another great sci-fi series. I've had so much fun with these characters, this world. It's so much action, but at the same time, it's mixed with like really complex political themes. I really love this series, and I think if it just stays consistent with the publishing schedule, we can expect This Brutal Moon to come out sometime in Q4 of 2025. And then we've got The Sovereign coming out by C.L. Clark. This is the 3rd book in the Magic of the Lost series. I just recently finished The Unbroken, which is book 1 in this series, and maybe spoiler alert, but this book is going to be somewhere in my top best books of 2024. Just incredible. I cannot wait to talk to you guys more about this book. But yes, The Sovereign is slated for 2025. I already have The Faithless, which is the second book, so I will be going into that early in the new year, and I will be picking up book 3 immediately when it comes out, because this is already shaping up to be an incredible series. And then we've got 2 that I am just not sure about, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. The first one is Lord of Demons by Evan Winter. This is the 3rd book in the Burning series. I really hope we get some news about this. I think this is just a series that has the potential to keep getting better and better with each book. The Rage of Dragons I thought was good. I didn't love it, had issues with the main character, but book 2, The Fires of Vengeance, was so much better. It was so good, and now we just need book 3 to take it to that next level. So I'm excited for that. Still holding out hope that we're going to get it in the new year, but again, who knows. And then the other one that I'm anticipating is the sequel to The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. I have talked about Amina Al-Sarafi so much on this channel. I love that book. I just love Shannon Chakraborty's writing in general. I love her characters, her world building. I'm obsessed. Amina Al-Sarafi was incredible. So the sequel is extremely high on my anticipated releases list. And then lastly, I'm gonna put Of Empires and Dust by Ryan Cahill on my anticipated list. Even though I am not officially in the Bound and the Broken series just yet, I do plan to start that journey in the new year. I did read The Fall though, which is the prequel to the series, and I had an amazing time with that. I was actually like very pleasantly surprised by The Fall. So I loved it so much that it kind of bumped up the entire series, the entire official series for my TBR. So that is a 2025 series project for sure, and I'm excited for that journey. So that is it for me, you guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Please let me know down in the comments what you are excited for next year. If any of these books are also on your list, I want to hear about it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.